The Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers matchup was supposed to be a marquee event for the WNBA season, drawing 2.1 million viewers, and giving the league a chance to highlight its best talent. But that's not what happened. While Caitlin and Paige put on a solid show, the true story wasn't the points. It was the officiating. The refs missed countless calls, and this time, the media wasn't letting them off easy. They were publicly called out on live TV. And now the WNBA, along with Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, is under fire from the mainstream media on a national scale. In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. It's a brutal take. And now, Cathy Engelbert, who had previously brushed off the referee issues, is under intense scrutiny. Change may finally be coming, whether she likes it or not. Stay tuned for all the receipts, but first, like this video. Each like equals a new whistle for the refs, who seem to have forgotten how to use theirs. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Let's talk about Ryan Howard's move on Caitlin Clark. What exactly was that? The refs have been relentlessly criticized this season, and it's common to criticize referees. Every sports fan does it. But what's been going on in the WNBA this year is off the charts. Even in hockey, they don't allow this much physical play, especially on their star players like Caitlin Clark. It's one thing to carry the weight of the league on your shoulders, but it's another to defenders hanging all over you while you're trying to score, with no calls being made. This has been happening game after game, but the league hasn't taken action. During the Fever versus Wings game, however, it got so bad that the media couldn't ignore it. There were grabs, holds, and more grabs, all happening repeatedly. Rebecca Lobo didn't hold back, calling out the refs live on air, like a teacher grading a test from a student who didn't study. The disbelief in her voice was clear. Fans and analysts alike jumped all over the issue, and when you slow down the game footage, it's obvious. Clark was being grabbed, bumped, and hand-checked every single time she had the ball. You can play physical, but you can't play dirty. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the WNBA. Dirty play on every possession. Every time Caitlin Clark touches the ball, she's being hacked, and the refs aren't doing anything about it. This isn't just a problem for Fever fans or Caitlin Clark supporters. This is a league-wide issue. The physical play is rampant, and it's clear the referees aren't stepping up. Coaches are even telling their players to be as physical as possible because they know the refs won't call anything. This isn't just a one-off bad call. It's a systemic issue. Things got even worse when Rebecca Lobo and Ryan Rico revealed that Paige Beckers had to learn how to play defense by fouling, since she could get away with it. Essentially, she had to throw out everything she learned about clean defense and focus on fouling. If that doesn't highlight a massive problem with officiating, I don't know what does. Paige had to abandon her defensive fundamentals from UConn and adapt to a new style. Foul first, think later. This issue is only getting worse, and it's time the league takes action. In her recent game against the Sun, Caitlin Clark and the Fever were subjected to brutal play, with elbows to the head and excessive physicality. Just another typical Indiana Fever experience. But two key things happened during this game. First, there was an exchange between Caitlin and the ref that started out calm but quickly escalated when she snapped at him, saying, "That has nothing to do with it. Are you effing kidding me?" From the way it unfolded, it seemed like the ref had said something dismissive to provoke such a response. Remember how Gabby Williams spoke about refs laughing at her earlier? Dismissing players seems to be a pattern. Caitlin didn't even get a technical foul for blowing up, which leads me to believe the ref knew he'd messed up. But then, Caitlin got injured again. This sparked her brother to take to X and blame the refs for what happened. That was just the beginning. What happened next made this a full-blown national story. The Washington Post released an article that took the WNBA refs and Commissioner Cathy Engelbert to task. The opening line of the article: "The WNBA should change its logo to a bruise. Forget the classic silhouette of a player shooting the ball. Use Caitlin Clark's arm or leg with a purple bruise instead." The article completely tears into the league's officiating, stating that there have been 141 injuries since opening day, despite the league having only 179 active players and only about half the season played. The piece also bluntly says that the poor officiating is killing the league, and that it's Cathy Engelbert's fault for allowing it to continue. The pressure is on her now, as up until this point, She's largely ignored the issue. Now, here's the thing. No winning team ever complains about the refs, and no losing team doesn't. Cathy Engelbert might sound like she's overlooking this, but the problem runs far deeper than one team or one player. Officiating in the WNBA is threatening the entire league. This is the biggest spotlight the league has ever had. Thanks to Caitlin Clark, new fans are flocking to WNBA, but they're not new to basketball. They know when a game is being called fairly and when it's not. All they want, just like the players and coaches, is for the games to be called fairly and consistently. They don't want to watch games being taken from them. And unfortunately, that's already happened on the biggest stage. Remember Game 5 of the 2024 Finals? With the championship on the line, a phantom call against the Lynx allowed the Liberty to tie the game and eventually win in overtime. Coaches, who are usually the last to criticize the refs, have even started speaking out. After the game, Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve didn't hold back. This game and the championship were stolen from us by the refs because they're incompetent and don't call games consistently. And it's not just that one game. During a Fever versus Liberty match this season, with the game on the line, the refs made 3 questionable calls or no calls at all, which gave the Liberty the lead and stopped Caitlin from even getting a shot to tie or win the game. Then there's the inconsistency in how certain players, like Asia Wilson, seem to get away with almost everything in some games. Caitlin's fans love her, but they won't keep watching if she's constantly being battered. And when Caitlin gets hurt, like she did in this game, they'll tune out. They won't support a league that allows their favorite player to get injured. The biggest issue here is that bad officiating makes the game unsafe. Physicality can be good, but when the game gets out of control, it crosses the line. We saw that in the game against the Sun. If the ref had controlled the game from the start, Caitlin wouldn't have been subjected to such rough play. Instead, she ended up with another injury. Things went from bad to worse when Sophie Cunningham took matters into her own hands, laying a vicious smackdown on J.C. Sheldon, which earned her over 1 million new social media followers. Why? Because fans are fed up with Caitlin Clark being roughed up without any consequences. Finally, someone stepped up to deliver some much-needed justice. Her coach had her back too, pointing out that when officials don't control the game and let the physical play continue, things like this are bound to happen. And it's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens when you have elite competitors who are the best in the world at what they do. When they're allowed to play physical and the refs do nothing, they're going to compete hard and they're going to back their teammates. The real problem here is the lack of control from the refs. When players are free to do whatever they want physically, injuries are inevitable. This isn't just a Caitlin Clark issue. Players across the league are tired of it. I've shown you the clips, and it's clear this problem is widespread. Now, let's focus on Caitlin, because the WNBA lives and dies by her star power. Think about it. Caitlin Clark has been injury-free throughout her entire college and professional career, missing no games until this season. So, what changed? She bulked up over the offseason, adding muscle to handle the physicality on the court, knowing the refs wouldn't step in. But now, after 3 injuries that have kept her out of the lineup, we have to wonder, did all that muscle affect her mechanics, especially in her legs, which are crucial for her long-range shooting? This isn't the first time people have raised this concern, and now Caitlin could be sidelined for a while. She even missed the All-Star game, which was supposed to be the Caitlin Clark show. Without her, the game just wasn't the same. The situation has gotten so dire that fans are telling her to sit out as long as needed, not just to get healthy, but to show the league how much it suffers without her. And this is where the league is really messing up. Fans are calling for her to skip the season entirely. Some even suggesting she play in Europe or start her own league. The WNBA is losing its audience. And if Caitlin continues to miss games, networks and sponsors will start questioning Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Right now, there's a CBA and a media rights deal in the works. Do you think the networks are not worried? Adam Silver is likely getting involved too. The NBA has poured hundreds of millions of dollars into the WNBA, but it's never been profitable. Caitlin Clark is their one shot at turning things around, and there's no way NBA owners aren't furious about her repeated injuries, especially with all the expansion plans for 2030. This could be a massive financial setback for the league. The networks and sponsors won't be willing to spend big bucks if Caitlin isn't playing. If she's sidelined for long, the league risks falling back into the dark days of half-empty arenas. Angel Reese and Nafisa Collier are great players, but they couldn't even fill Wintrust Arena with 10,000 seats. The owners know this, and it's why the players have lost their CBA leverage. With Caitlin injured and viewership dropping by 55% while she's out, there's no way the owners will be given to the players' demands. And now, we know the players have asked Caitlin to join the CBA talks, which was probably the last thing they wanted. Just like they keep turning to the NBA for help, they're now turning to Caitlin. But what can she realistically do? Promise not to get hurt? That's impossible. If the league and players were smart, they'd negotiate for NBA-level refs and a commitment to call a more NBA-style game that could help protect players' safety and allow skill to take center stage. But without changes to the officiating, the league stands to lose everything. This is no longer just a player issue. It's a league issue. The coaches, players, and fans are all frustrated, and Caitlin, the future of the league, has been injured 3 times this season. Her repeated abuse on the court without any real consequences cannot be ignored any longer. The only person who still needs convincing is the commissioner. With everything on the line, we'll see if higher powers are needed to force a change. The WNBA has reached a critical juncture, and its future may depend on how it addresses the systemic issues plaguing the league. This situation is no longer just a matter of one player's injuries or complaints from a few frustrated coaches. The crux of the issue lies in how the league handles officiating, physical play, and the safety of its top players. Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, has been the most obvious casualty of this systemic problem. Fans are deeply concerned that her repeated injuries are a direct result of the lack of proper officiating and the league's failure to regulate the physical nature of the game. What's worse, the league is failing to respond to these concerns in a meaningful way, which has led to a growing sense of disillusionment among players, coaches, and fans alike. First, let's break down the issue of officiating. The lack of consistency in calling fouls and controlling the game has created a dangerous environment for players. As we've seen in the case of Caitlin Clark, who has been a victim of excessive physicality throughout the season, the refs seem either unwilling or incapable of stepping in when necessary. And when referees fail to protect the stars of the league, the result is often injury. The growing frustration among players is palpable, as it's no longer just Caitlin who's being affected. Players across the league are voicing their concerns about the increasing level of rough play. However, the lack of consistent action from the officials has left them feeling helpless. Take, for example, the infamous incident with Sophie Cunningham laying down a brutal smackdown on J.C. Sheldon. While many may have seen it as a moment of justice for the abuse Caitlin Clark has suffered, it's a clear indication that when officials aren't doing their job, players may feel they have no choice but to take matters into their own hands. Cunningham's actions led to a surge of social media support, as fans applauded her for standing up to the lack of accountability. This is not a positive trend for the league, as it shows a breakdown in the system where players must act as vigilantes because the officials are failing to step up. Moreover, when players like Caitlin Clark, who have carried the league's hopes and dreams on their shoulders, are sidelined due to repeated injuries, the consequences ripple throughout the entire WNBA ecosystem. Caitlin's muscle gain in the offseason, which was intended to help her withstand the physical abuse she was expecting to endure, might have inadvertently contributed to her injuries. She bulked up to handle the rough play, but in doing so, she altered her mechanics, particularly in her legs, which are crucial to her long-range shooting game. It's a classic case of trying to adjust to a system that doesn't work for you, and it's costing her, and by extension, the WNBA, dearly. Caitlin's situation has prompted her fans to take action, with many suggesting that she sit out the season to recover fully. This, they argue, would not only allow her to regain her health and come back at her best, but also send a powerful message to the league about the consequences of failing to protect their star players. Some fans have even gone as far as to suggest that Caitlin should take her talents to Europe or start her own league altogether, as they grow tired of the lack of protection and consistency in the WNBA. This sentiment is particularly telling, as it reflects a growing dissatisfaction with the direction the league is headed. And here lies the crux of the matter. The league's failure to address the underlying issues is putting its future at risk. If the league continues to allow inconsistent officiating and fail to protect its stars, it risks losing its audience. Networks and sponsors who have invested millions in promoting the WNBA will begin to question the viability of the league if Caitlin Clark, its brightest star, continues to be sidelined. As we know, the WNBA's future depends on drawing in new fans, and Caitlin Clark is the key to that. But if she is continually injured due to a lack of accountability on the part of the league, those fans will stop tuning in. Let's also consider the broader financial implications. The WNBA's financial situation is precarious at best. Despite the NBA's investments, the league has never turned a profit, and its future remains uncertain. Caitlin Clark represents the WNBA's best chance at turning things around financially. Her star power is undeniable, and she's a primary draw for new viewers. If she's not on the court, it's likely that the league will lose significant viewership, and with it, crucial media rights and sponsorship deals. As the NBA continues to pour money into the WNBA, it's only a matter of time before Adam Silver and other NBA owners start to demand results. They've invested too much of the league to falter over basic issues like poor officiating and lack of player safety. It's clear that without Caitlin Clark, the league will struggle to maintain its momentum. Angel Reese and Hafizah Collier, while stars in their own right, don't have the same mass appeal that Caitlin does. They couldn't even fill a 10,000-seat arena. The owners are well aware of this, which is why the players have lost leverage in the ongoing CBA negotiations. The owners have seen the 55% drop in ratings when Caitlin is out, and they are unlikely to give in to the players' demands when the product on the court is suffering. The players have even asked Caitlin to join the CBA talks, which, given the circumstances, is a desperate move on their part. They're looking for someone to take charge. But what can Caitlin realistically do? She can't guarantee she won't get injured again. What the league needs is a fundamental shift in how it handles its officiating. The WNBA needs to adopt NBA-level referees who are capable of calling a fair and consistent game. This would not only protect players' safety, but also ensure that skill, rather than physicality, takes center stage. Until that happens, the league will continue to face major challenges. This isn't just about one player or one team. It's about the future of the WNBA itself. The players, coaches, and fans are all speaking out. But the only person who still seems to need convincing is the commissioner. With so much at stake, the question is whether it will take higher powers to force the changes needed to save the league. Time will tell if the WNBA can recover from this crisis, or if it will fall into irrelevance.